Hello, my name is Erica Arndt and I am a nurse on the labor and delivery unit at the hospital. Patient safety has always been a number one priority to me since I became a nurse. Working on the unit, many things can happen unexpectedly to either the mom or the baby, which is why it's important for us to be prepared for any situation. I propose that we have practice drills for postpartum hemorrhages, preeclampsia, emergency C-sections, and neonatal resuscitation. Currently, we have the checklists in place that we will complete for each of these scenarios, but if the nurses on the unit would be able to actually practice the checklist and have a simulated patient, we could prevent any harm or error that could occur in these situations. In order for this to be put in place, I will take this task upon myself and coordinate when these simulations can be done and the different departments that will be needed, such as surgery for the C-sections. I will help in whatever way I can in order for us to get these drills into place and help the nurses and other staff on the unit be prepared in any of these situations. My first thought after watching the Chasing Zero video was that I couldn't believe some of these things had happened to families. I have not been a nurse for a very long time, but the technology that we have now compared to 2012 when this video was made is incredible. Key takeaways for me include double checking the medications when you take it out of the Pyxis machine, and even if the medication is scanned for the patient, double check to make sure that it is the correct dosing. I also think that bedside handoff is another key takeaway. Bedside report can eliminate many errors, and you can lay eyes on your patient at the beginning of your shift, so that way, if anything changes, you have a baseline for that patient. I also resonated with that labor and delivery nurse, Julie, I believe her name was, in the video Chasing Zero. I've been pulling 16-hour shifts just because people are sick and no one can come in and cover, and so, I'm there at the unit, so I'm the one staying over until someone else is able to come in. And so after long shifts and not getting enough sleep and having to be back right away in the morning, it is hard. But now with our technology these days, we would be scanning the patient, then scanning the medication. So then Julie would have known, oh, I have the epidural in my hand, not the antibiotic. So our technology nowadays has, increased significantly to where some human errors that were made in the past are corrected and shouldn't be made today based on the systems we have in place. A personal story for me was with a previous coworker. This was when I worked on the med-surg floor. I was working that night I was coming in that morning with her, but I obviously was not the nurse caring for the patient that this had occurred to. So here is the story. The nurse was coming in for the day shift and received a report at the nurse's station because the patient had been awake all night long and had just fallen asleep, and so the night nurse didn't want to go into his room to wake him for a bedside report, so they just did report at the nurse's station. The nurse handing off, she had left, said everything was fine, but so she wanted him to get some more sleep, so then the day shift nurse received report, went about her day to see the other 3 patients she was caring for, and it was 9 a.m. before she got back into that patient's room that she did not get bedside report for. She started her assessment when she noted he had a facial droop, and the previous nurse did not report any of that off to her. She continued with the assessment and found that he was a lot weaker on the left side than the right side, and so she called a code stroke right away. But because bedside report was not done, we did not know when these symptoms had started, so then he was not a candidate for the medication TPA to help with the stroke. So, that's just a good lesson to learn. Doesn't matter if they didn't get a lot of sleep at all anyways, you just go in the room, quietly do report so he can get some sleep, and then just check him over, make sure everything's okay, because his symptoms could have started at 6, right, when he fell asleep and the last time the nurse laid eyes on him, or they could have started at 8 o'clock, or they could have started early in the night. It's just, you don't know. And so bedside report, I think, is a major thing. So ever since this incident had occurred, I have completed bedside report with each one of my patients, no matter what time of day. Now I'm working 3P to 3A. So even at 3 a.m., we just peek our head in, look over the patient, and we stand right by the door and we do a little bit of report. So I mean, you just have to do what you have to do so that way you can make sure the patient remains safe. So the influence of sharing other nursing errors have a tremendous impact on my nursing practice, and it makes me think twice about the things that I'm doing in order to keep my patients safe. So